Hi guys, Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to do your handover video on your white Strada. So we're starting with the bonnet. It's a 2 litre petrol engine, and we've got the starter engine battery over here on the left hand side. A few sort of fuses and relays and bits and pieces up here above there, most of it being Fiat sort of, you know, base vehicle stuff, as well as all of these obviously all these pipes and wires and all that sort of stuff is all original Fiat bits and pieces. Brake fluid attached to the servo just down the back, it's just there. Your engine oil dipstick is this one just here at the top of the engine, and your engine oil filling point is this one just over here. If you want to fill up your power steering fluid, it's this one just here at the top. It's quite tight, I can't really do it with one hand, but that's where the reservoir is for that. And you can probably see there, well, I'm not sure you can see it on the video, but it is just there, right exactly where it needs to be. Engine coolant is this reservoir just up here at the top, and again, if we just check it, see the level just there, so that's the perfect level there. Bearing in mind it's quite cold at the moment. Your washer fluid sits over here on this right hand side reservoir, and other than that, you've got your air filter inside this box just here, which is sort of unclips 3 ways there. Being a petrol engine, spark plugs go in these little kind of bits just here, attached to your kind of little distributor over on this right hand side. And so yeah, to be honest, this van does drive really nicely, so yeah, you shouldn't have any problems with that, and these petrol engines do start up really well. So yeah, a lot quieter than the diesel versions of these engines, you know, equally as good as each other, and yeah, should be good there. Petrol filling point, unleaded fuel just here, and this sort of point just here, you need the ignition key in there to open that up. Inside the passenger door, if I just open it up, 1 second. There's not a huge amount to show, purely just because most of the stuff's only on the driver's side, to be honest. But yeah, you've got your window winder just there. As part of the hab check, I have lubricated all of the hinges for all the doors all the way around the van as well. But yeah, these front seats, they do swivel, so the swivel point for these is on the back just here. So if you wanted to swivel them around, you can do so at the back there, and similar to the kind of rib seat that you've got just here, the backs move with these levers on the side. I'll just say as well, the quality of this van and all of the Strada built vans is just, well, it's just amazing, to be honest. It's unbelievable, down to the tiny little details around the van. I was well impressed with it when I was doing the hab check. So yeah, you got a really nice van with this one. So I'll just carry on around all the way around, so we just do it in one sort of clean sweep. Just inside the roller door here, you've got your LPG gas locker. So you have got space in here for two, or well, yeah, I'd say probably you've got two 6 kilogram propane bottles, but at the minute you've just got this 4.5 kilo propane in here. I left it in because we only give away 1 bottle with every van, and this one's actually full, so I left that there just so you can have a full bottle to go away with. The hose itself is 2019 dated, and all I had to do really was just chop it back a little bit just for the test. Everything all went well, and in fact I'll just switch it on for the minute just so I can show you a few bits. So anti-clockwise around to the left this way is on, and clockwise around to the right is off. So just remember that if you needed to. But yeah, it's only about the details in this van. You see that all the little covers here right in the middle have the Strada written on them. I just find that quite cool, but yeah, there you go. So yeah, the bottle's on. Obviously turn that off before you start driving anywhere. I'll show you how to use things, you know, like the fridge another way, so that you can keep it cold when you're driving. But that's pretty simple stuff. Oh, I'll just show you the waste drain as well. So if you want to drain your wastewater out, you've got this one just here, and then to close that off, you just put the handle upright like that. But I'll leave it in the open position for now. It has got, on the end of that, it's got like a kind of corrugated bit. So if you wanted to attach that to a rollaway or something like that, you can do so, or put a bit of pipe on the end of it. It's, you know, it's up to you, whatever's easiest. Your hookup point is just at the back here of the roller door. I put a little bit of sealant around there because it was quite a big gap between the actual thing itself and the van. So once that sealant goes off, you know, there won't be any more. It'll sort of bridge the gap between there, so no water will be able to get in. But basically, this is your hookup point. So if you're at home or at your campsite, that's where you put your hookup cable into, and that'll give you access to using your well, your charger will automatically start charging up your leisure battery. And it'll also sort of straight away, it'll start allowing you to use your plug sockets. You know, anything like that really is good to go straight away from then. Behind the back doors, you've got, on the back door itself, you've got these two vents here, which are for your fridge. A bit of an unusual design, which actually works really well on these vans. But basically the back of the fridge is completely open and exposed when you open the back door up. But you see here, you've got these kind of cutouts here, which goes directly out to the vents. This here, bit at the top here, is your sort of exhaust for the fridge. So when it's lit up on gas, you will get some fumes coming out from here, but when you have the door shut, it doesn't allow any of the fumes to come into the van, because these kind of, it seals up against this rubber, if you see. So, you know, when you look at it, you might think, oh, that's a bit weird being totally exposed like that, but actually you can see the mark around here, and that's where the rubber seals up against it. So if the door's shut, the all of the sort of fumes from that go directly outside, and nothing comes inside the van at all. So yeah, really clever design. The leisure battery sits down here. To be honest, it's not going anywhere whatsoever, so I wouldn't worry about this little latch. Plus obviously it's supported by the door when the door's closed, but there you go, that's where that is. That's a nice good size. I think it's a 100 amp hour or 110 amp hour, as it say, 100 amp hour battery. So plenty of juice in there, and I've had everything on without any hookup cable in at the start of the habitation check, just to make sure that it's sort of doing its job properly, and it is holding the charge nicely. So you then got your toilet, which again, the nice thing about this is, if from my point of view, is if there was anything ever wrong with the fridge or the toilet system, anything like that, I mean, I could literally get down here and fix these, you know, in minutes, because you don't have to get anything out of the way to get to it. If you needed a new element or something like that, it's really easy due to the position of it. So that is just a really handy thing to have. The toilet cassette itself comes out literally just by pulling it. Normally, if it was a cassette locker that you had to literally get all the way into, normally this little yellow lever needs to be lifted up to pull it out. But because you haven't got a locker, like an outside locker for this, and it opens up as soon as you open the door, you don't actually have to pull that at all. It just pulls out on its own. The only thing I'm going to show you on this, because it's so simple, is that when I've lubricated this lip seal, when you pull the flap on the toilet, which is the grey one just here, what that's doing is just twisting this. You see there, the flap opens and closes. So basically, that's all you need to know. When you pull the lever on the inside, it's literally just doing that. When you empty this out, you need to empty it from here, and when you actually empty it, you need to hold down this little yellow button, which is like a pressure release valve, and then once you've emptied it, pop it back in. Or well, before you put it back in, sorry, you need to put a little bit of your blue fluid inside here, and you know, about a capful, because this is also like a little bit of a measurer, if you like. So if I just show you, you can actually use that as a way of measuring how much you want to put in. But basically about a capful of the blue fluid, pop it back around, pop her away, and that's it. If you find that you can't take the cassette out, so if I just show you actually, if you close the cassette like that, you can't pull the cassette out. It locks itself in place. So if you leave it open, one, you get a bad smell coming through into the van anyway, but you need to open it up to allow you to take it out. So it's just something to point out if you ever find that it's being a bit difficult to get out. I'll just shut the back doors up. Pop that. Back over. Right. So on the off side, you've got these two vents just here, which are obviously exactly the same. One's for the boiler and one's for your heating. I don't really know off the top of my head which one is which, because I had them both on at the same time earlier, so I couldn't tell. But yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that. If you wanted to feel the heat coming out of them, you just basically put your hand underneath either of them. Fresh water inlet, so I've lubricated this as well, the rubber seal on there, so that won't leak out. To actually open that, you just push in and round to the left, and that will just come out on its own. Putting it away, push it in and round to the right, and then if you want to lock that up, then you want to use this silver circular key, pop it in, and then just turn it all the way and then take it out. So then now it won't come out and do anything at all. Right, so on the driver's side in the cab, still not a huge amount to show you because it's all quite sort of simple stuff. You've got your hazard warning lights in the middle, just there. All of your heater settings are all here in the middle, so you've got windscreen, you know, basically just telling the van where to put the air, the temperature, fan speed on the right, and then whether you want it recirculating or drawing in from outside. And it does tell you on there that if you want to clear the windscreen, then that's the best one to use. Single DIN Pioneer head unit, which should come on if we, there you go. So that works like that. Obviously you have to tune it in depending on where you are. There you go, that's just showing you that works. The reason we pop them out like that is to stop the battery getting drained. A lot of the time on the motorhomes, you go to it and, well, not a lot of the time, but sometimes if you go out to the van after a few months of not driving it and try and start it, if you leave the front of the radio in, even though the actual sort of colour might not be on, so if I show you like that, even though the front of it might not be on like that, it can still be drawing a very, very small amount of power. So if you just pop it out using that little button on the right hand side there, then it'll stop any battery drain from there whatsoever. And then when you go to the van, after however long, it should still start up. I mean, sometimes, you know, if you leave a van for so long, if you leave a car for so long, you know, sometimes it'll be flat, but it just makes it a lot less likely to go flat if you pop the radio out like that. 5-speed manual gearbox. Like I said to you before, I've driven this van myself yesterday and today, picking it up from the MOT station, and it drives really, really, really nicely. Really nice and quiet engine in comparison to a lot of the diesels, so, you know, really, really nice. If you want to start it up and drive off in the morning, it's much, much quieter. Reverse is bottom right, just like a sort of standard classic gearbox. The only thing to sort of know about on these is that you've got two levers on the left hand side of the steering wheel. The front one here is your indicators, and the back one here is to sort of go full beam on the headlights. The actual headlight switch itself is this one just here. So you've got side lights, main beam. But if you wanted to go full beam on the lights, you pull that switch down like that. So otherwise, just sort of leave it where it is. If you want to flash the actual headlights themselves, you need to pull this forwards like that. All right, so that's that. I'm only pointing that out because I don't want you to think that I'm showing you things that you don't need to be shown, but sometimes you get confused as to which, that's obviously not the indicator, this one at the front is, so it is a bit confusing, but there you go. Washers and wipers are on this right hand side, to pull towards you for the washers, and then up or down for the wipers. And your headlight aim is this one just over here. You have also got a fog light here at the front, at the top, and that's it. The bonnet pull is just under here, this one just here, and you have also got a bit further up, I think, just hop out. Maybe not, maybe that's a different style cab. Yeah, okay, so that's where you pull the bonnet from. obviously, like I said to you, on the other side you've got the winders for the windows, which in my opinion is just as good as having the electric ones, because it's just one thing less to go wrong. Handbrakes on the right hand side, that is something to point out. If you hop out of this van, please be careful when you jump out, because it does hurt if you catch yourself on there. I've done it plenty of times, so yeah, it's no joke when you hop out and hit that. Right, okay, so I've done under the bonnet. I'll pop that away. So yeah, I've shown you the gas, and the gas is on actually. Right, one of the main reasons why I like this van so much is the couple of beds that you've got. I've never ever seen anything so clever. It's just, right, I'll get rid of these for a sec. So like I said, you can swivel these seats around so that you can have a little dinette area. Your table is under this little underfloor bit of storage. So if you want to set that up, you can do that by flapping this piece of side down. So you've got this little lever just over here, which allows this to come down. So if you wanted to sort of use that, then you can do. So basically, look, I'll show you how the bed works. If you want to set the bed up properly, then what you need to do is lift this little lever up here at the front, and the entire thing comes out towards you. And once you've done that, you can pull this flap down. If I actually pull that down out of the way this time, you can pull this flap down, rests on these little metal parts just here on the corners, and then you put these parts back on, the parts that I just took off, they go back on. So if I just do that now, right, so that's your sort of your side piece of bed. The next thing is, if you pull this lever, or push this lever down, sorry, I will have to put the phone down for a second just whilst I do that. So on two ends, that then folds all the way over like that. Exactly the same thing with this part at the top, that just folds all the way down. And then look at that, I mean, that's, when you put this bit down at the back as well, you can slide the entire thing forwards and lay that back part all the way out flat. But I mean, for a panel van, that's just, yeah, huge bed. And like I said, you can even move the seats, turn them around and lean those back, so you could have an even longer bed if you wanted to. But yeah, so that's how that works. If you wanted to use the bed over the top, that's again another thing that I'm just so impressed with. Push up a little bit on the handle and then push this button in, and that releases the bed, so you can pull that down. You don't have to worry about the seats at the front whatsoever. Just pull and then push forwards when you get down there, and then you've got these humongous, great big arms and gas struts. So I know you're going to come in here and do this yourself because it's your van, but if you actually get in here and feel how solid that is, it's just, yeah, I'm so impressed with it. And something else to point out is, I noticed when I was putting this down, I thought that looks like a really nice hefty lock, and I noticed that it's actually, I think it's a Mercedes sort of door lock. So, you know, when that goes back up into the here, in fact, I'm certain that it is a door lock, because it looks, you know, just like a normal car door lock anyway. But when you lift this back up, that is so solid. But yeah, so the bed, it was just a huge part that I thought was really interesting and really impressive. So if you just give me 1 second just to put that back together. And if I just point out as well, this is what I'm saying, if you wanted to, before doing any of these steps, if you wanted to push this entire seat forwards a little bit, this would go all the way out flat. As long as you move the front seats forwards a little bit, you know, this whole thing would lay out completely flat, and it's one of the biggest beds I've ever seen in any motorhome, let alone a panel van. So yeah, anyway, I'm going on a bit now, so yeah, 1 sec, I'll just put this back together. Just so you can see how quickly it is as well, quickly you can do it. Get rid of the side bits. So there you go. I mean, I don't know if that was 30 seconds or something, I don't know, but that's just, yeah, really, really impressed. Right, so the rest of the van, underneath here, you've got your heater at the top, and underneath it actually is your water heater, so your boiler. So again, really, really impressive, really cool little sort of place to have all of the sort of big hot, you know, bits and pieces that aren't too pretty, all underneath there. You can sort of put that in there and forget about it. The water tank sits underneath this bit of, if I'll just show you, pull the bottom one up, and you'll see there you've got the water tank. So that's your fresh water tank. So if you wanted to clean that out, you can open that up, clean it out, and then you can sort of draw all the water through to drain it. You've got seat belts down here as well, so if you wanted to pull them out and use them, then you can, but for now they're just sort of in there, out of the way. Right, if you wanted to heat the water up, then the first thing you want to do is come down here, turn your on switch on like it is now, the pump switch on, and this one on as well, which is to do with your fridge, but you can just switch all of them on. After that, you can check your water level. You can press this button just here to check your engine battery level. So if I press this one, you've got nearly a full engine battery, and then press on the bottom one there, and it tells you you've got about half a tank of fresh water. So the bottom one tells you your leisure battery level, so you've got nearly a full battery in the leisure, and the fresh water level, so fresh water on the right, leisure battery on the left. And then the middle button here tells you the amount of water, the amount of power in your engine battery, and I think it shows you the wastewater level, so it's empty at the moment, and that's why it's showing up as empty. So like I said, if you want to use your hot water, you come there and you just turn everything on there. All right, you've got a submersible water pump in this van. Good thing about that is that there's no real pressure behind any of the pipes, because it works on power rather than pressure. It allows you to sort of, well, it basically means that you don't get as many leaks and things like that, because there's not so much pressure anywhere. But anyway, so yeah, once you've got those three switches on, come to your sink and then just pull the water. You'll hear straight away the pump kicking in. You can probably hear it on the video. It's a bit louder than it normally would be because I've got that open, and the pump just sits just in the tank. So pull the cold side, it's coming out nice and clear. Pull the hot side, and as long as the hot is coming through just like this, then you know that you're good to go to use your hot water in your heating. Until you do this, there's no way of you knowing if the boiler is full of water. And if you go to light the boiler up, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, with no water in it, then that's when you're going to run into problems sort of like overheating and things like that. So really important you do this first. You see there, the water is draining out quite nicely. To be fair, the motorhomes, they don't drain out like a household sink. It's very, very rare that you'll find that they'll drain out as well as you'd hope it would, purely for the fact that the pipes aren't all perfectly going down and things like that, because they have to go to sort of not very, basically because the pipes don't go straight down, they have to go sort of at an angle down to the tank down there. You know, they just don't drain out as well as you would hope, but that's just the way they are, unfortunately. But to be fair, I mean, that's all drained out now. It's not too bad. I've seen much worse. So yeah, that's how you do that. So then if you want to heat your water up, you've got this Truma boiler system over here. So as long as your gas system is on and the boiler is full, you can turn this. If you just go there to 50, it's plenty hot enough. And then basically it will light up on its own, and that's it. When it gets to around that sort of temperature, it will switch itself off. So yeah, that's it. That's how you use your boiler. And if I just show you as well, talking about the boiler, you've got a little yellow lever. I don't know if you can see it on the video. Just down there, I don't know if you can see it. Just about. Yellow lever, and the position that it's in now, laying out flat, that means that it's basically that the boiler is closed, so no water will come out of the boiler. So if you wanted to drain the boiler out, you need to lift that so it's upright, facing me now. And when you do that, you'll notice that straight away loads of water will start coming out underneath the van. You need to do that if you're not going to use the van over the winter period. It's going to get sort of like freezing temperatures. That's when you need to drain that out, and that's really important, because if the boiler is full of water, you know, that's sort of like 10 litres, sort of like a little bit of pressure behind it because it's full to the brim of water like it is at the moment. If you then allow it to freeze, then it will sort of expand when it freezes, and then sometimes the lids sort of pop off, pipes will crack, you know, things like that will happen, and that's when you start running into some real mega money. If you need to replace the boiler, it can be quite pricey. So if you sort of do what I was just saying there, make sure first off that you've got water in it. Drain it out. If you're not going to use it in the freezing temperatures, then you're fine. You won't run into any issues at all with that. You see there, the boiler is lit because the green light stayed on. If it didn't light up, you would get a little red light there at the top. But there you go. You see it's working now. After about half an hour or so, you have 50 degrees of hot water. And yeah, just pull it through the tap just like I showed you. If you want heating, then pull up on this right hand one here and choose your temperature. After about 10 seconds or so, because it sort of goes through a little cycle, it will just blow the fan, get rid of any excess gas, then it will light up, and then you get the hot air coming through after that. So that's how that works. I'll just switch the boiler off for now. So yeah, nice and simple, both of these, heating on the left, boiler on the right. If you want to switch this off, you do literally just push this back to the middle. Make sure that you don't push it all the way to the bottom, because the bottom one there is a fan. So if you have it at the bottom like that and you think it's off, it's not. It's actually still sort of pumping the fan around. The idea behind that is if it's really, really hot outside, you can have a little bit of cool air pumping around without the heating running at the same time. Right, this little cupboard underneath the sink is really important. So you've got your gas isolator valves just here. So if you thought you had a problem with any of the appliances sort of individually, you can isolate them from the gas directly just here. So you've got